welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into Ezekiel chapter 14, and wow, this is a powerful passage. It's a direct confrontation that gets right to the heart of the matter, literally. It's all about how our hidden loyalties, what the Bible here calls idols of the heart, can seriously corrupt us from the inside out. Okay, so to really get what's happening here, you gotta feel the tension of the times. We're talking around 591 BCE. The prophet Ezekiel has already been deported to Babylon, but all of his prophecies, everything he's saying, is aimed right back at Jerusalem, which is just teetering on the edge of total collapse. So this is not a message for peaceful times. This is a word from God forged in the middle of a massive national crisis. So here's how we're gonna walk through this. We'll break down the first 11 verses of Ezekiel 14 into 5 key parts. We'll start with this deceptive inquiry from the leaders, then we'll really unpack what God means by idols of the heart. After that, we'll look at the call to repent, a tough section on prophetic accountability, and finally, we'll see the ultimate goal behind all this intensity, restoring the covenant relationship. All right, so our story kicks off not with some big dramatic vision, but with a formal visit. The elders of Israel, the leaders of the community, come to Ezekiel. And you'd think, hey, they're seeking a word from God. Seems like the right move. So on the surface, this looks great. In a time of crisis, the leaders are consulting a true prophet. They're doing the right religious thing. But God immediately tells Ezekiel that there's a huge disconnect between what they're doing on the outside and what's really going on in their hearts. So now let's get right to the core of the problem. God just cuts straight through all the religious performance to expose what's really going on inside. And here it is in verse 3. God gives this just stunning diagnosis. He asks Ezekiel, almost rhetorically, should I even be listening to these guys? The problem isn't a statue in a temple somewhere. The problem is the idols they have set up in their hearts. They've come looking for God's guidance, but their hearts, their loyalty, are already given to something else. This really gets to the core of it. What is an idol of the heart? It's not just a physical thing. It can be anything that competes with God for first place in your life. It could be a political belief you refuse to question, an ambition that makes you compromise, or even a relationship that pulls you away from what you know is right. The text calls it a stumbling block, something we willingly put in our own path that trips us up. So God's response is just profound. In verse 4, he basically says, I'm not going to be played. He's going to answer them, all right, but not with the comforting words they want to hear. No, his answer is going to be like a mirror, reflecting the corruption of the very idols they've chosen to worship. But, even after this incredibly harsh diagnosis, God doesn't just condemn them and walk away. He immediately shows them the only way out of the mess they're in. He calls them to turn back. Verse 6 lays out this super clear 3-step path to getting right again. First, repent. That means a complete change of mind, a total 180. Second, turn from your idols. You have to actively get rid of those hidden loyalties. And third, turn away from all abominations. Make a clean break from all the stuff that God finds detestable. It's a call for a complete reorientation of your life. And for those who refuse the call, the warning in verse 8 is severe. Their fate will become a sign and a proverb. What does that mean? It means their downfall will be a public, unforgettable lesson, a cautionary tale for the whole community about what happens when you try to live a double life spiritually. Okay, now the focus shifts, and we get to a really challenging part of this chapter. It's all about deception, false prophets, and who is responsible for what. So, verse 9 can be pretty shocking when you first read it. It sounds like God is saying he actively deceives people. This verse has caused a ton of debate over the centuries, but looking at different translations and commentaries really helps us understand what's being said here. And this is where that context is absolutely crucial. The King James Version says, I, the Lord, have deceived that prophet. But other interpretations really clarify that this isn't God actively tricking someone. It's much better understood as God allowing or permitting a false prophet to be deceived. It's like, as a form of judgment, God just removes his hand of protection and lets them fall headfirst into the delusion they've already chosen for themselves. Then in verse 10, God lays down this principle of mutual accountability. It's so important. The false prophet who gives the people the lies they want to hear, they'll be punished. But, and this is the key part, so will the person with idols in their heart who went looking for that lie in the first place. The supplier and the seeker of lies, they both face the consequences. So, after all of this,
After the severe judgment, the urgent call to repent, what's the point? Why is God being so direct, so harsh?
And this is the beautiful turn. The whole point of this intense confrontation isn't just to destroy the people, it's to restore them. God's judgment here is like a purifying fire. It's meant to burn away all the hypocrisy and pull the nation back from the brink so they can actually return to a real, authentic relationship with Him. And verse 11, this is the ultimate goal of the whole chapter. All the tough warnings have one purpose: restoration. God's desire is to clean house, to cleanse His people from their hypocrisy, so that they can finally, truly, be my people, and I may be their God. The judgment isn't the end goal. It's just the difficult path back to the relationship that is the goal. And so this ancient text leaves us with a question that is incredibly modern, isn't it? It asks us to look past our own religious performances and consider what we've set up in our own hearts. What hidden loyalties, ambitions, or attachments might be acting as our idols, getting in the way of our own clarity, our sincerity, and our connection to what really matters.